Welcome back again to the episode 2 of the Perfectly Me podcast. Thank you all for viewing the first one. You just want to keep this going. Today, I have a special guest with us, interviewing, since this is Black History Month still for another 3 days. I want to interview influential Black women in their community. So without further ado, I would like to welcome my guest, Sue French. How are you doing today?
Thank you. Good morning, and thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
And so, how's the weather up there where you are?
Actually, today it's pretty. It's nice. Tomorrow it's supposed to rain. Yesterday was beautiful. It was near 70. It's supposed to get down to like 55 tomorrow, and then Saturday back up to 70s.
Oh, beautiful,
Uh,
beautiful,
so yeah, it's a lot nicer than last week when it was in the 30s, I think, for the highs. So
and
how
rainy.
about where you are?
Oh, today, oh, 71, sunshine, breezy. Great couple days. Better than 40 and windy.
Another day in paradise, as Phil Collins would say, but I digress.
It's paradise somewhere. Um, so just to kind of get started, can you just give the listeners who aren't familiar with you just kind of a quick synopsis of where you came from, your background, so to speak?
Hey, okay, thank you again. My name is Martha Sue French. I'm an attorney in Decatur, Georgia, which is a suburb of Atlanta. But I actually grew up in a small town in Kentucky. I graduated high school there, went to college at Campbellsville University, that's also in Kentucky. Shifted it a few years later, I'll get into that later. But I went to law school at Stetson University College of Law. That's in Gulfport, right outside of St. Pete. As far as the background professionally, I had spent I spent 33 years, not the last 33 years, but I spent 33 years in the insurance industry.
And that's got to be a big change from insurance to law. So what made you want to become a lawyer?
Well, it was two different things, actually. My very first inkling of wanting to become a lawyer was when I was maybe 5 or 6 years old. And my mother cleaned houses for people. That's what she did for a living. And one of the families that she cleaned houses for, he was an attorney there in our little small hometown. And I accompanied her one day. And I remember just sneaking in. He had an office in his home where he worked sometimes, and he had the big desk and the big chair. I remember sitting in that chair, and it was like dark panel wood. This was very regal to me because I grew up very poor. And I remember that day telling my mother that I wanted to become a lawyer. And she told me, you can do and be anything you want to be. But the time and the era that I grew up in, it was more acceptable for women to be nurses or teachers. So life happened, and I just put that on the back burner. Fast forward a few decades, when I was in the insurance industry, I was a claim representative with a large insurance company. And I was working at this point is in workers' compensation claims. I was then promoted to the supervisor. And I worked very closely with the attorneys that we would hire for those cases. And that reignited my passion to become an attorney. I still have great relationships with every attorney that I worked with at that time. And they encouraged me, well, you can do it. So in my late 40s is when I actually went to law school.
Oh man, that seems awesome. So with what you learned in the future job and the reigniting that you experienced, and now going to your current profession of being an attorney, what would you say, I guess, your biggest, I guess, what do you think like the biggest strength for being a lawyer is? Like, what's the attribute that you think that is really important to doing what you do well?
It's twofold. It's not just one thing because it is a combination of things. I know that there are a lot of attorneys who this is their second career. This is my second career, but the things that I learned, the foundations I learned in the insurance industry, I think some of the biggest things were relationship building. You know, you have to be able to network, build relationships with people, because later on you're going to have to build that same relationship with your clients. Also, just taking the day-to-day skills, business skills, learning how to, if you're going to have your own firm, then you're going to have employees at some point. You have to know how to lead people. You have to know how to manage people. You have to know how to wear many different hats. So I think those were the transferable skills that I learned in the insurance industry that I was able to bring to my law firm and was able to implement those immediately and be successful.
Oh, thank you for saying that. I think very well said. I think there's many hats that need to be worn. And since you mentioned it, so the law firm that you have now, what is the name and of your law firm, and what type of law do you practice?
Well, okay, my name is Martha Sue French, so hey, I'm gonna name it after myself. If I'm gonna work this hard and I'm gonna have this second career, then I'm gonna have a legacy. I'm gonna build my own legacy. So the name of the firm is French Legal Firm. And it's funny because that's one of the things I want to touch on later too, is that when I initially opened the firm, because I had such a wealth of insurance background, I thought one of the practice areas I was going to practice was going to be personal injury. And come to find out, that's not what I've done. So the main areas I practice right now are family law. And basically, it's not everything, because you want to really watch and don't spread yourself too thin. You don't want to be a jack of all trades, a master of none. Focus on 2 to 3 different practice areas and become very proficient in those areas, become the go-to in those areas. So I practice family law, but basically that's just divorces, either contested, uncontested divorce, child custody, child modification. And then also let's say will/probate. So I do a lot of guardianship cases, conservatorships, and also wills, powers of attorney, advanced medical directives. So basically that's all I focus on right now. I do have a couple of irons in the fire, ways to expand. But again, I really want to be really proficient in 2 to 3 areas and just go from there.
So the areas of law that you do practice, would you say, because you did mention your background with a very large insurance firm, and then you mentioned not wanting to practice that when you became a lawyer, is that just more of the passion you have for the type of law that you do? Because most would probably think it'd be easier to do something you're comfortable with, but you chose not to go that route.
I did choose, not to go that route because my mindset was, I've been doing this for 33 years. I want to do something different. But the reality is, I found that my purpose and my passion was more to help people. And the family law, the things that, families go through, divorce, even though it might be the best thing, sometimes you need someone with some compassion that's really going to understand what you're going through. The same things with probate and with wills. I've seen families torn apart because they don't have a will in place. So I wanted something that I was passionate about. What I had seen in the personal injury arena, it was more of a meal. It was in, out, in, out. You really didn't have time to connect with people. And that's one of the things I really pride myself on, is the communication piece and actually, connecting with the families, with them, everyone that's involved, to make sure that they have a good experience and they come out better on the other side. That's why our logo or whatever is helping you put the pieces together. And that's what French Legal Firm does, help you put the pieces together.
That's awesome. So I think you kind of answered the next question I had. The best part of your experiences is the connection with people and just being influential with people. Would you say that is kind of this in the same realm of what made you want to be a lawyer initially? Would you kind of say you're merging those together, commingling, so to speak?
Okay, we never want to use the phrase commingling when we talk about law. I don't know what course you've taken or haven't taken, but commingling is a no-no. So no, let's not say that. Let's just say that my skills lend themselves to communicating and advocating for people. And one of the ways I started out was um, volunteering and volunteering with legal aid. They have different areas uh, that you can actually, sign up for. And so a lot of my clients were maybe they had special needs, they were older, they may have been in the onset of dementia. So it was really important for me to connect with them and really be their advocate. I have to be the voice because it's almost like they don't have a voice. So that lends itself very well to what I love, which I love people. I love doing that. And I forgot the other part of your question, but I'm hoping that I answered it.
You got there. You got there. All good. So with what you're doing now, what are you kind of like your near future plans that you have? If you have any future events or any projects or anything in the near future you'd like to share with us if you can.
It's funny that you asked that question because one of the tips I was going to say later, but I'll just go ahead and say it now, I'll reiterate it later, is to make sure you align yourself with other attorneys and preferably other attorneys in different practice areas because you can learn a lot. I have a standing bi-weekly meeting with an attorney that I met in legal aid, and it, we just talk back and forth. Hey, what's going on with you? What's going on with you? And we bounce ideas off of each other, and we talk about our strengths, our weaknesses, what we can do to increase our business. And one of the things she brought up, even though I don't really want to practice personal injury, I'm good at personal injury. I'm good at insurance law. So let me just give you a quick blurb of my insurance background. I started out as an underwriter. Then I went on to become a claim representative. So I was a field claim representative where I did first and third party claims. Then I was in workers' compensation claims. Did that for a while. Then I was promoted to management in workers' compensation claims, over homeowner claims, first and third party claims, over boats, liability. And then I took a shift and became a corporate instructor. So I was actually teaching insurance claim representatives how to handle claims. Then I shifted again prior to retirement, and I was a training manager. So I managed trainers who taught claim handlers how to handle claims. And I handled, all these were not simultaneously, but I had trainers in Atlanta, Phoenix, Concordville, Pennsylvania, Newark, Ohio, and Birmingham, Alabama. So I have a lot of knowledge in claims and in insurance. So as we were talking, it has come up. I think I'm going to try to look into somehow capitalizing on that by being a consultant for other attorneys, for newer attorneys. I know the ins and outs of the insurance side. That's what I did. So even though it's not baked yet, I'm still putting the ingredients in, seeing how everything's going to work out. But that is one of the things that I'm looking forward to adding is just a component that is I'll be a consultant for personal injury claims, or even in insurance claims. It didn't have to be just personal injury.
That's really good. Use what you know, and if you're good at it, as you said, just Use the gifts that you've been given. Um,
And hey, it comes up. This is my one opportunity while I was in in the insurance industry, and this will go to my credibility when I do try to market this. I have every insurance designation known to man. Okay,
that was actually going to be my next
I
comment.
have a CPCU, CLU, CHFC, AIC, AINS, AIC, ENTC, and a notary. I'm a notary. So yeah, that's enough for now. But what I didn't mention is that I'm also licensed, in addition to be licensed in Georgia, I'm also licensed in Florida, and I'm licensed in Kentucky. So that's the one thing that this COVID has lent itself to. It's not all negative. This format has actually helped business because it lets you see that you can actually service a lot more clients by this virtual format.
And
I just
that was
want to bring that up.
actually a question that just came up, but you kind of answered it. How has the COVID environment, we are, it might not seem like it, but we're still in a pandemic.
Yes,
Uh,
we are.
so I was going to ask how the COVID has impacted your business, but as you mentioned, it allows you to service more people in a global area. So thank you for answering that before I asked it. That's awesome.
Of
Um, so
course, but also in the initial stages of COVID, it it was a slowdown opportunity. It was time to actually stop and see what direction do you want the firm to go. Where do you want to spend, let's say, your advertising dollars, or where do you want, what type of client do you want, and to get better with technology because this is the new format. So it gave me an opportunity, and I know some others, that I've talked to as well, time to slow down, refocus, and then relaunch. So COVID has actually helped that, and I have serviced clients successfully in Kentucky, in Florida, and here in Georgia.
perfect, which goes on to the next question I have. So, with the different locations in which you practice, how can people get in contact with you?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. So I'm going to share my screen here. And if you can see it.
I see it.
Perfect. So of course, I'm always, and that's one of the things you learn as a solo attorney, is that you always have to be marketing yourself. So contact us to schedule a consultation. Very affordable. We have payment plans. Look on the website. But again, I service Georgia, Florida, and Kentucky. I have the email here. It's sue@frenchlegalfirm.com. The Facebook, French Legal Firm, LLC. Instagram, French Legal Firm. If you keep saying it enough, you're going to remember it. Twitter, @French Legal Firm. Website, French Legal Firm. So the office is 833-354-4968. You will be talking to one of my virtual assistants. They can set up or they can take a message, then I can reach out and set up a consultation. But we're actually physically located in Dacula, Georgia, but I also have a satellite office at C3 Village that is in Stone Mountain, Georgia.
Shout out to C3 Village.
Amen. Yes, love them.
So just to kind of close here, what would some closing advice be for current or future lawyers, either just starting or just random advice that you would have, being a female, being a Black female, um, or just overall?
One is never lose sight of your dream. Because, if they've come this far, like I said, I actually started law school in my 40s. I had graduated college 20 years. I was out of college 20 years before I started law school. So if you have that purpose, that passion, you know, 3 years, 4 years is going to pass anyway. So what are you doing to prepare yourself? It doesn't even have to be for law school, for anything that you do, whatever it is that you want to do, the time is going to pass anyway. So go ahead and do that. If you are practicing law, and if you're set on a certain practice like I was, explore other areas. Don't box yourself in to just one area of law. You may find that you like something else much better. For example, I did a lot of observations in criminal court because criminal law fascinates me. I did well in law school in criminal law. It fascinates me. I knew all of the nuances to it. But when I actually got into the courtroom and observed it, oh, no, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, sir. Not for me. And, you have to know these things. So, don't box yourself in. Explore different areas of law. Reinvent yourself if you have to. Join local bar associations. Because I was relatively new to Georgia, in my mind, I was an outsider. But by joining the local bar association, I was able to connect with people, meet people I hadn't met before, actually work and partner with people on some things. So do that. Again, network, volunteer with legal aid, volunteer with even your bar associations will have activities that you can volunteer. Be seen, volunteer, promote yourself, because that's what you have to do. Do what you love, but the most important thing is be authentic, be yourself. I have lived trying to be, something different or trying to be more, straight-laced than I am. I am a country person who loves people. That's me. I want people to see me for me. If you retain French legal firm, what you see is what you get. And I will fight for you. But I don't want you to think that I am, a straight, a designer suit wearing, whatever. No. But I will fight for you, and I know the law, and I can advocate for you. So don't try to make yourself what other people want you to be. Be yourself and be your authentic self. So that's the 2 cents that I have to give. That's my pair of pennies today.
Oh, the pair of pennies. That's is that a marketable phrase? I've never heard that one.
Oh, really? That is a reference to Schitt's Creek. That's a Moira Rose reference. So I just want to throw that in there.
I should have known. So thank you for that advice. And that's very good advice. And I hope that the audience can hear that advice. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for sharing your background, what's going on with you currently. People call you attorney. This is an influential Black woman in the communities. Some would call you called yourself country. Some call you attorney. Secret, I call you mother.
Yes. So just remember, who gave you life? I'm just saying.
And who takes it away?
Whatever.
If I had a pair of pennies for every time I've heard that.
Yeah, exactly. But thank you, because that is another dynamic that I'm glad you waited till the end to bring that up, because we do have of course a parent-child relationship, but we also we talk business. I try to encourage you and talk to you about business things. So I look forward, hopefully, to working with you in the future.
Wink, wink. So this concludes the episode dose, the second podcast of the Perfectly Me podcast. We're just made perfectly us, flaws and everything.
Thank you.
Just perfectly us. So thank you again. And
thank you.
I look forward to bringing more content to you guys in the future, and have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.